everyone. This is Yana from Immeasurable, and thank you for tuning in to Immeasurable's Inspirational Moment. Today I want to talk to you today about obstacles. And what is an obstacle? An obstacle is something that blocks your way, or it hinders or prevents you from making progress moving forward. So of course, I found a nice little story that you all can always go back to refer to whenever you're faced with an obstacle. In ancient times, there was a king. And this king had a large boulder placed in the middle of the roadway. He decided to hide himself behind a bush just so that he could see how many people would go around the boulder and how many people would actually try to move the boulder. So the first set of people passing by was some of his little rich merchant friends from his palace. They didn't do anything. They just looked at the boulder, went around the boulder, and kept on moving. The second set of people was just people in the community. All they did was grumble and complain. And they blamed it on the king. They said it's the king's fault that this large boulder is in the middle of the road. He should have hired somebody to remove it. So they went around the boulder and kept on walking. But the third person that came to this boulder was a poor man, walking by heading home with a bag full of vegetables. He saw this boulder. He thought to himself, maybe I should try to move this boulder because it'll make it a lot easier for people to pass through the roadway. So he laid down his bag of vegetables and he began to push the boulder to try to move it out of the way. He pushed and he pulled and he pushed and he pulled and he pushed and he pulled, and he began to work up a sweat. And he got really tired and he wanted to give up. But he said, no, I'm going to push it again and I'm going to give it all I got. So he pushed that boulder one last time, and as he pushed that boulder began to move. And as that boulder began to move, he kept on pushing. And he pushed that boulder out of the way of the road. So he said, my work is done here. Now I can go home. So he began to go back across the street to pick up his bag of vegetables. And he noticed that there was a bag lying in the middle of the road where that boulder once were. So he went over to the bag. He opened it up and he looked inside. And inside this bag was a lot of gold coins. And it also had a note. And it was a note left there from the king. And this note said, this bag of gold goes to the person who removes the boulder out the middle of the roadway. See, what that poor man learned, he learned something that some of us may never understand. He learned that obstacles are only an opportunity for us to improve our condition. You know, in Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, NIV version, it says, trust in the Lord with all our heart and lean not to our own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he will make our path straight. So you just remember, the next time you're faced with an obstacle, refer back to that poor man with that bag of vegetables and understand, he didn't try to walk over that obstacle. He didn't try to go around that obstacle. He hit that obstacle head on. And where he once was poor, less than 24 hours, he became rich. So I thank you all for tuning in. But I need you all to make sure that you go to the Play Store on your phone, your cell phone, and you download Immeasurable's free app. Yes, download is free. It's not going to cost you anything. The app is called Immeasurable. And we really need you guys' support. So again, this is Yana from Immeasurable, and I thank you for tuning in to Immeasurable's Inspirational Moment.